The term jumps the shark, as in a TV show has outstayed its welcome and has become blatantly absurd to the point where the audience can no longer suspend their disbelief. This term originated from Happy Days when Fonzie quite literally jumped the shark. Now, for people who can't help but pay attention, America as a country certainly jumped a shark a long time ago. But even if you haven't been paying attention, I don't know how you can look at what just happened at the White House Correspondents Dinner as utterly absurd and totally detached from reality. Which makes you wonder, what are we even fucking doing here? My name is Crumbine, and this is Emergency Creative, a place where I explore the intersection of creative expression, creative process, and mental health. And my brain fucking hurts from watching the Donald Trump show. You know, I have always hated reality TV. Straight from the beginning, I shouldn't say the beginning, but the boom in the 90s, I always thought it was bottom of the barrel entertainment. But good fucking Lord, Donald Trump gives reality TV a bad name. A man allegedly carrying a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives ran past security outside the White House Correspondents' Dinner ballroom where Donald Trump was sitting under a massive message that read, "Celebrating the First Amendment." The man, the alleged shooter, not Donald Trump, was instantly subdued and arrested. Event canceled. I had the absolutely bizarre experience of seeing all this shit play out live as it was happening, watching as the broadcast from the ballroom descended into chaos while the live commentators on MS Now were still talking about comedians and jokes. Seconds ticked by. People are scrambling in the ballroom. Something is clearly wrong. And the live news broadcasters don't seem to be looking at their own broadcast feed. It's weird. Yes. But lucky for us, it gets way weirder. Phew! The live broadcast on MS Now finally catches on. And then what follows is what felt at the time like an interminable 5 or 10 minutes of knowing absolutely nothing. Again, this is live in the moment before we know anything other than what we can see with our own two eyes. And to be fair, even that is pretty limited. But it is a ballroom with a 1,000-some person capacity full of journalists. Now, there was some admittedly totally fair hand-waving about technical difficulties, and yes, that is true. Not only have I worked in those places before, but yes, I'm tech savvy. I know how these things work. The ballroom has notoriously bad cellular reception. Hotels have notoriously shitty Wi-Fi, especially for events. When you eliminate the cellular connection and force a mass of people onto shitty Wi-Fi, nothing works. It happens. But not 100% across the board. That seems weird. Plus, cellular and Wi-Fi aside, we are literally broadcasting from inside the room. Like every major news outlet. It is the White House Correspondents Dinner. It's not just the journalists there. It's all the media and technical and photographers and videographers. This is going to be the most well-documented crisis since January 6th. And that is important. Even if in the minutes following the crisis, virtually no information was getting out. In fact, even within about 30 or 40 minutes, so little information had come out that Donald Trump was able to completely own the narrative in a ballroom full of journalists by tweeting that the alleged shooter had been captured, disclosing the man's name, image, and that he was the lone shooter. Nothing to worry about anymore. The show must go on. Oh, protocol says I can't go back on stage? What? Never mind. They said, sir, we can't let you go back even though there's no more danger and you really, really want to. We allegedly know more about the alleged White House Correspondents Dinner shooter, allegedly, from Donald Trump's tweet less than an hour following the event than we still know about Butler, PA. Allegedly. And I am not making light of this entirely, but I am trying to contextualize the absurdity of it all. Watching the event unfold live and the hours of coverage in the aftermath, I was struck by people milling about the ballroom and smiling and laughing, juxtaposed with the images of abject terror and trauma of people hiding under tables, taking cover under tables, truly scared for their lives and the lives of their colleagues. Meanwhile, school kids across the nation are all, active shooter? What else is new? Just another Monday through Friday for us. I've said this before, and it absolutely bears repeating. American media, movies and television, has a problem with fetishizing guns. We cannot avoid it. We have stories, by that I mean fiction, movies, television, video games, of murders, assassinations, vengeance, and violence. And the only time a shooter in these fictions ever runs in, literally guns blazing, is when they are John Wick and Rambo and shielded with plot armor, or know that they are not going to make it out alive, and maybe they just need to provide a little bit of a distraction for the real heroes. Most of the time in our fiction, as in reality, assassination hits are planned and rehearsed and done in stealth. And I say that to say this. If running full tilt at the ballroom was the alleged shooter's best plan, that was a dumb fucking plan. And he was allegedly carrying a shotgun, a handgun, and knives, almost as if he really thought he was John Wick. Or maybe someone really wanted you to know that there was no doubt whatsoever that this right here this was the guy. I mean, he probably would have carried a nuke with him if only he could have fit it between all the guns and knives. If it sounds absurd, it's because it is. Whether the dude himself was literally that dumb or if it was something else. That too would be absurdly dumb. Look, I am not saying it was a false flag operation to somehow gin up support for the most hated man in America again, but if it was, the absolute gall of attempting this in a ballroom full of journalists whose job is to see through the BS. Donald Trump has been openly attacking journalists for well over a decade. This is old news. But if this was a false flag, and again, the whole thing is so absurd, such a jump the shark moment, it could honestly go either way and it wouldn't really surprise me. But if it was a false flag, the fear and trauma, at least for some in attendance, was very fucking real. And if it was a false flag, we just sailed straight past Fonzie jumping the shark and into the shark tearing Fonzie in two. Whatever the goals were, the human toll is horrifying. People were taking cover under tables. They didn't know if they were going to make it home. And nobody cares. Because that is the point of jumping the shark. Once you're on the other side, once you've outstayed your welcome, once you are scraping the bottom of the barrel for new distracting ideas, once you are on that other side, everything is simply too absurd for audiences to suspend their disbelief.